the audio. Yep. Can you guys hear me now? All right. I can't hear you over there either. Huh. Not sure why nobody can hear me. Um, Let me try to change something here. Oh, you can hear me now? Okay, awesome. All right, let's get started. Uh, Today, I want to talk about something that's heavily affecting my life right now, and something that um, it's very personal. Something that I'm going through with my family, and and it supports my mission in authenticity, and it supports um, this sort of series I'm doing on shame and trying to get rid of shame, right? Because we need to get rid of shame in order to really feel authentic, to live our real authentic lives. So today we're going to talk about shame, addiction, and authenticity. And I've got a special guest that's going to join us. Danielle Fiore is going to join us, and she's actually a substance abuse counselor. So I'm going to bring Danielle in. Are you in? I think. There we go. All right, you're in.
There we go.
All right, learning new tricks. That's fun. Okay, so I just kind of introduced the topic, Danielle. We're talking about shame, addiction, authenticity,
Yeah.
and I'm bringing it up because like it's something that's personal going on with me and my family. I don't want to get into all the details, but
Yeah.
that's why we're bringing up the topic. And I wanted you to join us because you got a lot of really good insight in this, considering this is what you do for work.
It is.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us about that? Tell us what you do.
I am currently a telehealth counselor. I run groups where I teach people. I basically just teach people about addiction, or substance misuse, um, life skills, communication skills, all the stuff that we should have been taught when we were younger. I'm also in grad school to become a social worker, so I can be even more equipped to do the best job that I can do.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, I know all of your stuff, but
I
just in
know.
case anybody else didn't. Uh, so a couple disclaimers here. I want to talk about. We're not here to diagnose any sort of issues, right? We're not here to blame anybody or expose anyone. Uh, and I want to emphasize compassion, dignity, and taking responsibility.
Yeah, disclaimer. I may be licensed in 2 states, but I am not able to diagnose yet legally, unless it's a substance use disorder.
Excellent. So yeah, so I want to keep this conversation to about shame and not judgment, right? And I think that's an important thing because if we want to get over that shame, which is what we're going to talk about, we got to let that judgment go, right?
Yeah. What is shame? What do you think shame is? How would you define it?
Yeah, I think doing a lot of the reading I've done and thinking about this, shame to me is sort of like this guilt, and it's this like I'm a bad person, right? And I'm because I like this thing or I'm doing this thing, it makes me a bad person. That's kind of what shame I think means to me.
So, like, shame's definition is I'm bad. I did something wrong. So it attacks the self. It's not the behavior. But guilt is I did something wrong. So guilt can be a motivator to repair and to change and to take accountability. But shame lives in the darkness and it keeps us in the darkness because it's I am bad.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. Make that very clear distinction there. Yeah. Guilt is, yeah, I fucked up. I feel guilty for fucking up. I feel guilty for doing something wrong. Let me try to make it right.
Right.
Versus shame is I'm just a bad person. Just I'm not good. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so the reason I wanted to like pair up shame and addiction together in this conversation is like you had just said, shame sort of lives in that darkness. It lives in that dark space where it's like, I'm bad. I don't want to tell anybody that I'm bad. Right. And so I hide it.
Yeah.
And I think when we attach shame, every amount of shame to addiction, then it causes us to hide that addiction and hide the problem that we're having and hide, something that may be repairable, something that may be reversible because we feel shame for it, right? We don't want anybody to know that we're a person.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, everything is repairable. It's if we don't know about it, how can we do it? Right? Like if I'm not acknowledging it for myself, or in my case, like if my members don't tell me, I can't help them because but it's I hate to go with this cliche saying, but our secrets keep us sick, right? So if I'm not owning my stuff and bringing it into the light, it's just going to grow and grow and grow and keep us down, 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 down. Like just it's like it shame keeps us chained.
Yeah. 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 I definitely see that. I've definitely felt that at points in my life, where there's things that, I was doing that I felt shameful for doing it. And I just, didn't want to tell anybody. And I did it, at night under shadows.
Right.
And yeah, it makes it so you don't want to bring that out. It keeps in that darkness. Yeah, and you never tell anybody about it. And if you're not telling people about it, if you're not talking about it, then I think also like you're not acknowledging it, right? You're just trying to sweep it under the carpet.
Well, and you're just living with the guilt.
Hmm.
Or not
The shame.
living with the guilt and the shame.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about shame in addiction. So, how do we look at this? And, I think addiction always comes with this like really negative, this bad connotation, which sounds like you're morally, insufficient in some way.
More of failure.
Yeah. Right. Um, and so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the shame and the addiction in addiction and why is that? Right.
Well, shame isolates people, which gives you even more of an excuse to use.
Mhm.
And when shame collapses your identity, and it could be collapsed into like a single mistake, and it just collapses. It's like, the three little pigs, one made their house smart, the other one's not so much. And, it was like one little blow and it crumbled. And
Yeah.
that's shame. It collapses us. So it could be like, I'm weak. I'm a failure. I'm unlovable.
Mhm.
No one cares about me. I suck.
Yeah. Why do you think, something that I've noticed is like with substance abuse in particular, I mean, there's lots of things that people make people feel shameful for, right? And there's lots of addictions. Let's say somebody's addicted to playing video games, right? And they might be shamed occasionally for spending too much time playing their video games. But when it comes to substance abuse, why do you think substance abuse carries such a disproportionate amount of shame as compared to like other addictions?
you want you want my take?
I do, yeah.
Society. Because we demonize so many things, and we demonize the people who do these things. But oh no, he's a teenager. He's just gonna play his games when in reality, like he's fully addicted. And I mean, if you look at other countries where they have like really high um, game addiction, like some of these people, I mean, there's a whole spot in Japan where people go to kill themselves, right? Like, and that's shame. Um, and I genuinely think that society just it demonizes it, and especially because oh my gosh, you're a drug addict or you're an alcoholic. Like, how did they portray it in movies? You see alcoholics with a brown paper bag in the alley.
Mhm.
That's not what all alcoholics look like.
No, definitely not.
Some of them get up and go to work every day. Some of them make plenty of money.
Right.
You know, some of them are unhoused, absolutely, but an
Yeah.
alcoholic, you don't have to have this certain societal stance to be an alcoholic.
Mm.
But even that is more acceptable because you can go to the store and you can buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the things, I've seen, people be, people who are alcoholics, and they might catch some shame, but usually it's like, "Oh, well, he's an alcoholic." It's not unless they're, beating their children or their spouse or, doing something really bad, it's kind of just, it's all right.
Well, I remember like when I was using, um, and it still happens, right? Like I'm only using heroin, at least it's not meth. Like there's this hierarchy within the substance use world that it's, well, at least I'm not doing that. And
Yeah.
it's, in reality, like we're harming ourselves
Mm.
regardless. We're doing things, we're pushing our boundaries, that line of like morals that I'm never gonna cross. That line is written in the sand when we're actively using. So it's real easy to erase that line and push it back some more and more and more.
Mm.
Um, and then society just continues to fuel it because it's, look at this guy.
Yeah.
And then, they don't share about, you know, um, oh gosh, it was Miss America. She was an addict, and they broadcasted that, but did they care to broadcast how her recovery went? No. We only broadcast the bad stuff.
Yeah.
We don't broadcast the good stuff like, oh, this person who went to prison and, they were in prison for however long and they had a horrible substance use disorder and some mental health issues. They got out and they got their degree and like they're doing great in bioengineering, like
Mm.
whatever it is, they don't talk about that. Society doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all true, when I look at, the situation that I'm most familiar with, I look at how shame has really prolonged and made the addiction problem way worse,
Yeah.
over years because of this societal, disproportionate shame with substance abuse. It really encouraged this person to like not say anything, don't tell anybody, keeping it quiet. And so this addiction just thrives in that silence.
Absolutely. Well,
Right.
shame splits the person, right? Like shame creates isolation,
Hmm.
but it splits the person into the hidden self and the presentable self.
Mm.
So the hidden self is all of the things that I don't want you to know, that I'm not going to talk about, that shit that lives in the darkness. But the presentable self is, I'm here, I'm going to work, going to family dinner or whatever it is. Like that's
Yeah.
the presentable self. I'm going to try to keep my shit together as much as I can.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, like that's the tip of the iceberg. Then you have all the, the hidden self that's beneath the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. 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 I think that's why in a lot of cases you see, people who go through the substance abuse don't actually start talking about it until it's life or death,
Yeah.
until it's finally gotten to the point where it's just so bad that now they absolutely have to seek out help, right?
Yeah. Hold on
Yeah,
one second.
you know,
I'm on a live with Paul on the internet.
On the internet?
Yeah. Why don't you go play a game for a little bit and then I'll come and get you?
Oh!
Give me a smooch. We're talking about addiction. Do you want to talk about addiction?
Nope.
No?
yeah.
You don't? You want to say hi?
No.
Hi,
Oh,
Jackson.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, Jackson.
All right. Give me a smooch and get out. I love you.
My dad?
Go.
When's Daddy gonna be here?
I don't know. I'll text him, babe. Anyways.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, well, kind of finish up that section there. We'll just say, I think shame really protects the addiction itself and not actually the person, right? Having that shame and society putting that shame, I believe it makes that addiction worse. It
Yeah.
makes that addiction
But it
stale.
feels safe.
Yeah.
To that person.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. Because they wanted to keep it quiet.
It also doesn't help that we have a very how do I put it? We have a very lack of actual separation from church and state.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole other topic for another day. Yeah. That's something that's been driving me crazy my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
This country was formed on a separation of church and state, but not really.
But yet there's the 10 Commandments right outside of that state.
Yeah.
Anyways, back on.
Anyways, let's get back. So yeah, I think we kind of touched on that where on the person with the addiction, the substance abuse problem. I want to talk about enabling, shame and enabling. Yeah. So, I think enabling often, comes from like fear, guilt, some misguided love, things like this. And I think shame really affects family and it affects those who are doing the enabling.
It affects every part of that unit. You hit it like fear of losing the person, the guilt. What if this is my fault? What did I do wrong?
Mhm.
I let this happen. That helplessness of like, I love my child or my partner or whoever it is, but I want to help them, but I don't want to see them be homeless.
Yeah.
And then there's of course the desire to keep the peace
Mm.
and to avoid the conflict
Mm-hmm.
because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But uncomfortable is where we grow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a friend of mine a long time ago, and their father had a substance abuse issue. They knew about it. Their mother knew about it, and they were all so shameful about it that they just kept this as this really dark secret. And the family had to deal with it on their own. They couldn't even use their extended family to help them deal with the issue, and it caused the father to just go down some really bad holes and some really dark places.
Well, I was that kid that they tried to not let all of the family know, and I mean, I got in so much trouble that all the family found out, and now I'm that kid that I've been able to change my life around. And it's, what if my family would have, and my parents and my sister and my brother-in-law, like they tried. You know me, I'm stubborn. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't care what anyone says. But, like, what if it was a little more talked about?
Right.
Would it have gotten to the extent that it had gotten to?
Yeah.
Would I have had all that shame that I had to sort through for years? I mean, I'm still sorting through stuff, right? Like, it's a lifelong thing, but I mean, I don't know. Shame and enabling go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think especially when it's a parent, I think there's that fear of looking like a failure. like they weren't a good parent, or they failed somehow, they failed the child.
Right. How did I not see this sooner?
Right, how did I not see it sooner? And then, because our society holds so much shame, I think that builds, right? That enabling builds.
Yep.
It's
And
like,
then you don't want the neighbors to know.
right, you don't want the neighbors to know, you don't want this person, so that enabling starts getting larger and larger and larger and larger, right? It's like a snowball coming down an avalanche. It just keeps collecting and collecting and collecting, and now you find yourself enabling so much
Yep.
because you're afraid of that shame, uh, and it really prolongs the issue. It makes it a
And
lot.
then it's also the fear of, what if I stop doing this?
Yeah,
Like, what's going to happen? They're not going to talk to me anymore. I'm going to
yeah,
lose my daughter,
right.
and the fear of that. But the fear, I would rather my parents lose me, like I don't want to talk to them, than the reality of they're going to lose me because I'm going to die.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's why we got to get rid of that shame.
Hmm.
We've got it.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, definitely, definitely easier said than done. Yeah.
Why do you think? I know we talked about it a little bit. You definitely hit it. But why do you think so many people just hide the problem? Like why?
Mm. Like, why do enablers hide the problem, or why does the
The
substance
enabler. The
enabler?
enabler.
Yeah.
Like, put yourself in, and I'm sure this is going to be hard. You're so not an enabler, but put yourself in those shoes. Because when you think about it,
Mm.
when someone passes away of a heart attack or whatever, right? It's, oh my God, I am so sorry. And you get all of these, dinners to freeze, and
Yeah.
all of this support, and all of this, like, our condolences. But if you're like, oh my God, my kid's an addict, or if your child passes away from an overdose, you don't
Hmm.
get any of that. You get those looks
Hmm.
and the whispers of, like, oh my God,
Right.
your child overdosed.
Right.
When in reality, it should be, hey, what can we do to help you?
Right.
I'm sure this is a really hard time. Well,
Right.
the kid's still alive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what can we do?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I think it's a lot of that. I think it's the shame of how they're going to be perceived,
Yeah.
right? And how they affected the addiction, right?
Yeah. All the consequences were
All the
delayed.
consequences, right? And then I think there's also that, if I just stop doing, they're going to crash, right? They're going to become homeless. They're going to be out on the streets, and I can't let that happen, right?
Yeah.
Um,
But you can, because enabling isn't being cruel.
right,
It's compassion without boundaries.
right,
That's
right.
what enabling is.
Yeah,
It's not cruelty, you're doing it out of love,
right.
but it's compassion without boundaries. And
Compassion. Yeah,
boundaries do not mean abandonment. It means refusing to participate in the denial of it. And
mm,
it is okay to let your kid go homeless. Like, no parent wants to see their kid go homeless. But if you tried and tried and tried and tried and tried,
yeah,
there has to be a point where you draw that line
yeah,
and you don't push it back,
yeah, yeah.
and let them, they have to feel the burn. And if they've been enabled for so long, they haven't felt the burn. So they don't have any skin in the game.
Mm,
They have no reason to want to change because everything is taken care of.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
why?
Right, right. There's always that safety net. There's that. Well, I can use today, and I'll be okay. But if I use too much, I know that so and so's got my back.
Right. Like, I'm not a believer in tough love,
Yeah,
but I am a believer in boundaries. Like, hey, I'll get you a sleeping bag.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
But you continue to do this and we continue to give these chances to you, I'll get you a sleeping bag. It's
Yeah.
going to break my heart. I could never imagine myself going and letting my children, any of my children,
Yeah.
right, or even my friends, be homeless, right? I could never picture that. But if they're consistently doing unhealthy things, I'm not going to be the enabler.
Right.
Like, here's a hand. Take it when you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I ever really saw myself as like a proponent for the tough love, right? I suffered some of that from my parent, um, but I do kind of like I have this thing where I'm like I'll make a negotiation, right? You want help doing X, Y, and Z? Well, that's fine. I'll give you that help, but you're gonna give me X, Y, and Z, right? Like that's how I like to do. I like to make that negotiation of like, yeah, I'll help you, but I want to see you help yourself first.
Yeah.
Right.
Hannah just said that um, she has a controversial opinion about enabling.
Oh,
And she does agree that boundaries are need to be set, but she doesn't believe in completely cutting the addict off in most circumstances. And when she was cut off, it just went deeper and it just got shittier, which Hannah, you were spot on.
mm,
Absolutely. Like that tough love, like we're not going to talk to you, do your own thing.
yeah,
That is more damaging than anything. Like that is extremely damaging.
yeah,
And then that increases the shame that's already internalized. And it's, oh, my own family doesn't even love me. And it can go way past that, right?
mm,
Like it can not even the drugs, it can end in something else because of that. So Hannah, you're right. But it's those boundaries that it's, you know, I'll meet you for lunch,
yeah,
but you can't live with me.
yeah,
I can't pay for your bills. You have to figure this out.
yeah. Yeah, I agree in that, total cutting off, total isolation, that just seems too much, right? That's
Yeah.
just, wow, okay. Um, it's gonna, like you said, that I think that would increase the shame.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like it's interesting, going through this the way I'm going through it right now. I tried to make a deal. I said, look, I want you to take this level of treatment, right? I want you to go through this level of treatment, which is a several month commitment. In exchange for that,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a good place to live, and I'm going to make sure I save all of your things. I'm going to do all this stuff for you to support you in that recovery. But I need to see you do this, and the reaction I got back was like as if I was being the most terrible person.
Well, that's because they've been enabled.
You know, the response I got was, no, you should do all of those things for me and let me come home tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
But that, I mean,
yeah.
that was expected.
Mm.
Ryan had said to Hannah's point as well, at what point does the person who's being affected even should they cut off if the person who won't stop using the enabler? I mean, and that's the thing. That's the hard part.
Mm.
Is you have to have boundaries and you have to have those firm boundaries, and it's hard.
Yeah.
And like it's as a mother, right? Like setting a boundary like that as a parent is going to be the hardest thing.
Yeah.
But when there's research backed facts that like you have to have boundaries. Boundaries are the most important thing.
Yeah.
And to Ant's point, there is no perfect recipe. You are absolutely right. We are all different, snowflakes. We're all made differently. But as an enabler, period, boundaries, period, firm, end of story.
Yeah. Mm.
I don't know if you can see the chat, but I have it on my phone.
I see a little bit of it. Yeah. Yeah. I try to monitor it.
I'm a telehealth
Yeah.
counselor, so I'm
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
at
You're better at this than I am.
it.
Uh, all right. So, yeah, shame and enabling. Um, let's move on to the next point. You know, my mission is authenticity, right? I talk about authenticity a lot. I push this, living authentically. I learned how to do it several years ago, and it's liberating. It's
Yeah, this is my
liberating.
favorite part.
Yeah, it's liberating in so many ways. Where it's like, in one of the big areas where it's liberating is I don't feel shame. I
Yeah.
can't be shamed, right?
Well, your shame is I'm bad. You're
Right.
not
I'm not bad. Right. I'm living my authentic self, and I've accepted my authentic self. And so if somebody wants to say, "Well, that thing you're doing there is shameful. That's bad. You should feel shameful for that." I don't. I know I'm not bad. I know I'm not a bad person, right? Do I make mistakes from time to time? Sure, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
But accepting my authenticity has allowed me to shed that shame,
Yeah.
right? Um, and so I want to get into that a little bit, right? Because authenticity.
Sorry.
Yeah, go
Hannah
ahead.
made a really good point.
Sure, yeah,
Sorry. And as in true Hannah fashion, controversial. But she doesn't agree on people being dicks about giving homeless people money. And in her opinion, and it's not up to you to give gifts to someone with restrictions. You wouldn't do that to anyone else. And if they use it for drugs, oh well. They had a day to get out of pain, but most homeless people, I promise you, are trying to stay fed and warm. And she's spot on,
yeah, yeah,
right? Like, it's not our business. I
yeah,
don't give you a gift card and tell you where to spend it. Right.
yeah.
I mean, I do because, like, if it's a Kohl's gift card, right?
Try
But,
to get
like,
it
if I give you cash for your birthday, I don't
right.
get to dictate how you spend that.
Sure, absolutely.
Same thing. And I mean, if you've ever been through withdrawals, that shit sucks.
Yeah,
If they do use it to stay well enough to
yeah,
be okay, then
yeah.
but anyways, back
Yeah.
to
No, I agree with you.
being authentic. It's just she made a really great point. I'll
Yeah, no,
stop
I think
looking
it's a good
at
point.
I'm sorry, guys.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's true. I think that's absolutely right. You can't say like, "Here's $500. You have to use it exactly like this," right?
Right.
But I do think it's okay for me to say to the person I'm dealing with, like, "Hey, I will give you a place to live,
Your
right?
situation is different.
But I need you to show me that you're willing to do this, right, for your benefit."
Yeah, no, that your situation is completely different.
Yeah,
You're not handing a $10 bill to some Joe Schmo on the street that's holding a sign,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, that is different. This is a grown person that you are giving a very, very generous offer to. And this is what I ask. These are the requirements to live within my
mm,
property. Like, it's just like a sober home. You go to a sober home, you have the rules, you have the accountability, you have to go to so many meetings, you have to do all these things. So, for you to say to your loved one that this is if this is something that you want help with, this is what I require. That's fine. If
yeah,
you want to drug test that person twice a week,
yeah,
that's fine. Like, but being clear and upfront.
mm, yeah, mm. Yeah, I get that point. I get that point. Um, just a side quest there. When I lived in Chicago, right? I lived downtown Chicago, and there was this like line of homeless people holding signs, right? And they're all like, "God bless you," and blah, blah, and all these things, right? All these really nice things, and trying to get money. And the guy at the end of the line, he had a sign that said, "Why lie? It's for beer."
Respect, dude.
You know, and I would drop by and I'd give that guy $5.
Respect.
Like, respect. Like, yeah, cool. Tell me the truth.
But the thing is, you are not like
Yeah.
all the other people, right? Like, I'm not going to say that because that could offend some people and that's not nice. And my family could be watching. But it's, like, oh, and that's like really good, upstanding citizen. And, you know, I don't want to know the truth. I want to know that your family is starving, even
Yeah.
though you don't have children, right? Like, I'd
Right.
rather take your lie because it's more comforting to me.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And it's not about the person at all. It's
Mm.
about the person that's giving.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, let's move on because I think, if we want to get rid of the shame, we want to start shedding that away. I really do believe that authenticity can be an antidote to this shame.
Yeah.
Authenticity is about telling the truth about your reality.
Yeah.
Right? This is me. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've done. This is where I come from. Right. And being truthful in that's living that authenticity.
Right. But you don't have to overshare, right?
Of course.
Like, you don't have to overshare. It's your business.
Right.
No, I mean, to an extent, right? Like, if I'm a person in entering recovery and I want to, be authentic and use authenticity as an antidote, still, I don't have to overshare. I don't have to give you all the details. I don't have to make grand public confession. Like,
Right.
It's refusing to live that double life. This is who I am. This is,
right.
but this is where I'm trying to go.
Right. That's why I bring up the example of the two homeless guys, right? One with the sign praising Jesus and the other one with it's for beer.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to know that the beer guy is also using fentanyl or using whatever, right? He doesn't have to overshare, but he's living his truth.
Yeah.
Versus the other one who's living that sort of double life where I'm going to pretend I'm praising Jesus because I think that'll make you more comfortable to give me money.
Yeah.
Versus living my authenticity, right? And I think that's how we start to get rid of shame. So when we're living that double life, when we're trying to present ourselves as one thing, but back over here in the dark corner we're something else, right?
Yeah.
That's that shame living back here in that dark corner. Open up the light.
Yeah, let the light in. Let the
light in, right? And stop living that double life. It doesn't mean you got to tell everybody that you're an addict that you run into, but some people you need to, right? And
yeah, you don't have to be like, "Hi, my name is Danielle in the grocery store, and I was a heroin addict, and
right.
I really like to bang dope, but yeah, like I'm just getting some garlic."
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's not that. It's not oversharing, right?
No.
It's just not pretending you're somebody else.
No. So all right, so what does it? I have two questions. I want to hear from you.
Okay.
What does it look like in practice? Like, being authentic, what does that look like actively in practice? And when you let the light in, what does that bring? Which one do you want to answer first?
I'll try to go in order. All right. So what does it look like in practice?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not pretending to be something I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And what I mean by that is, like, let's say I'm at the office, at work, right? And we're in a meeting, and everybody in the meeting thinks that red is the best color. Right.
Oh, hold on. I'm going to stop you.
Yeah.
Because we're talking substance use.
Okay.
I need you to put yourself in a place.
Oh, okay. So not in general. Not in general. In terms
No, not in general. We know.
Sure.
This part. You've had talks. We're staying on the topic of substance.
So how does it look in practice when you're abusing substances?
Yeah, whether you're active or you're entering recovery or you're in recovery. What do you think that looks like?
I think that looks like being honest with those around you. As an example, I've known several people who were ex-alcoholics, right? And hey, we're all going out for drinks. Well, they come out for drinks, and some of them may say right off the bat, "No, I'm not going to go out for drinks. I used to be an alcoholic,
Yeah.
right? Or I am an alcoholic, or I'm a recovering alcoholic." And it's just being honest with that. They're not oversharing. They're not telling me about the shitty things they did while they were abusing alcohol,
Yeah.
right? They're not sharing all of that, but they're being very forthcoming and telling me like, "Hey, I had trouble with alcohol. I need to withstand for, I need to stay away from that for right now.
Yep.
So I'm going to avoid this event," right? That's what I think it is, right? So if you're going to do that in practice, it's just owning it. You're going to go to a party and there's drugs there. I got to leave.
Yep.
I can't be around that because I used to abuse that stuff.
Yep.
And it's just being open and being honest about that. So I think that's what it is in practice for substance abuse.
Okay.
And what was your second question?
What does it look like when you let the light in?
That's where I think the shame just goes, right? So you're talking with people and everyone's like, "Ah, yeah, let's go get some drinks," and everyone, "Let's do some shots," right? Shots, and everyone puts all the shots, and you stop and you're like, "I can't, can't do that. I used to be alcoholic. I got to stop." Um, right away, just by owning that authenticity, you're telling the people around you that I'm not ashamed of that. That's what I used to be. I'm not
Yeah.
that anymore, right? And so it's bringing your power back.
Yep.
You're claiming your power by owning that authenticity, rather than letting the shame of that substance abuse have power over you. By being authentic about it and being out in the open about it, that's what it is. You're pulling that power and you say, "No, the power's mine."
Have you heard about the drop the rock theory?
No, tell me.
Okay. Well, first, Hannah had said she does believe that it's person by person, that not all addicts need to abstain from all drugs and alcohol, which I agree. It depends on the person. Like heroin and cocaine keep me the hell away from that. But I can have some drinks. I have no problem with that. And as a person in recovery, I struggled with being open with that because of the shame that was brought
Yeah.
on. But the drop the rock theory, this is where, like, because shame, if we just let the light in, like, we're still going to have so much until we unpack it. And so what my analogy, of course, is that I have a backpack and I'm going on a hike and I feel like I just have everything that I need in this backpack. And I'm walking up this mountain. And Lord, this backpack is freaking heavy. So you stop and you examine what's in your backpack. Like, what do I really need to bring with me on this hike? Right? So you got a bunch of fucking rocks in your backpack. So you pull out the first rock, and I mean, they can be the silliest things, okay? Because shame does crazy things, and self esteem, all of the stuff, right? So in my groups, I always use silly metaphors and examples because they're real life things too. This is not my real life thing, but like I'm carrying this rock, which is a resentment, that Johnny from the 7th grade didn't want to dance with me at the semi-formal.
Mm.
And I have been carrying this rock about the semi-formal for years. And
Yeah.
I'm mad at Johnny. Johnny has no freaking clue.
Yeah,
Nope.
Johnny don't care. You forgot about that.
Yeah, but I've been carrying it. It's been weighing me down. It's been keeping me, in the dark, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, you know what? I'm done with that. And you continue to unpack and you unpack and then you unpack. And that's a big part of
Mm.
shame is unpacking each one of those things and recognizing like I'm not a bad person. Did I do some bad things? Sure. Should I have been in federal prison? Sure. But I'm not a bad person.
Right. Right.
So I think that like when you really let the light in, it's dropping those rocks and it's taking accountability because some of those rocks are rocks that like we threw at houses and then we went and like gathered them, right? Like
Yeah.
that's good, but
Yeah.
but it's letting the light in is dropping that and unpacking it and getting connection and having accountability and truth expands your space.
Yeah.
Secrecy narrows your options.
Yeah. Right.
Does that
Right.
make
Absolutely.
sense?
It absolutely makes
Okay,
sense.
cool.
Yeah. Because when you're trying to keep everything secret, right, it narrows your options. So like make an example of that. Well, I'm keeping this secret, right? Or I might talk to you about this secret, or I can't talk to anybody else about this secret, right?
Mhm.
So immediately that's narrowed the people I can discuss it with even. But when I'm honest and I'm authentic, now I have the ability to talk to everybody about it. It doesn't mean I have to overshare and I have to talk to everybody about it,
Yeah,
but I have the power inside to do so
right,
if I needed to,
right.
right?
Ryan
It's
just mentioned I
yeah.
think this is a good question, and I wanna hear your answer to this. He wants
Okay.
to know, how do you let it go? Like, is it self-reflection? Is it meditation? What do y'all do to move on from those weighted items that you hold on to, from those rocks? So how do you start to drop those rocks?
How do you drop the rocks? Man, that's a good question. Um, I have dropped a lot of rocks.
But how?
I'm not gonna lie. Um, some of them, I'll be honest, just fell out of the bag. And that's something that happens, I think, is once you start dropping rocks, right? And you get on this flow of dropping rocks, the bag gets lighter.
Mhm.
And as you walk, things bounce around and rocks just start falling out without
And they
any effort.
break too.
And they break and the rocks are gone.
Yeah.
Right? So the more rocks you get rid of, the easier it is.
Can I challenge you on that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree, first of all. And, there's all these different modalities that you could do professionally, right? But, like, the example that I used,
Mm,
expectations, and this is just broad, right? But the, expectations are very big in substance use, self-esteem, all of this stuff.
yeah.
What's your part in it? Like, what was your part in this? So I've been carrying this rock because Johnny in 7th grade. What's my part in that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
I tell Johnny? Like, I wanted to dance with him, but did I ask him? Did I tell him? Did I say, "Hey, that made me upset"? No.
Yeah.
I just bundled it up into this nice, hard fucking rock and put it in my backpack.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is how I started, I will say. I there was a point in my life when things went wrong in relationships or professionally or wherever, there was a lot of pointing the fingers, right? Oh, it was that person. That person did this to me. That person did this to me. Right. But I learned this a long time ago was to uh and it actually was an old boss of mine who instilled this in me, was that in every situation, there's always something for you to learn,
Yep.
right? And so you got that rock of this negative thing happened in my life, and now I'm holding on to this rock. If you stop and you look at it and you say, okay, okay, I understand this is a bad rock, right? It's a negative rock, and these people, this things happened which contributed and made this a bad piece of a bad memory. Um, but what did I do in that situation?
Right.
How did my actions make it a bad rock?
Right.
Because they did, right? And if you really are honest with yourself and you really look at it that way, every bad situation that's ever happened in your life, something in there, and I'm going to rephrase that, mostly in your adult life, something in there was in your control. Okay.
Just in the way that you respond. That's your control.
In the way you respond, in the position you put yourself in everything, right? I'm not trying to be an asshole here, but what I'm saying is, like, for example, I went through a really bad thing, right? Really bad person did a really bad thing to me, right? What was my role there?
Right.
My role could be something as simple as I allowed myself to be in that space, right?
Yeah.
And okay, that's still, this person was the big influence that did the bad thing, but I allowed myself to be here. Why did I allow myself to be here?
Yeah.
Right? I made a bad decision. Or maybe I didn't necessarily make a bad decision. Maybe I was misguided. And the misguided thing that happened got me to go to this position where
Mhm.
this bad person could do this thing to me. Right. And so in my mind, what I try to think is, okay, how could I have noticed those red flags earlier? Right. Could I have noticed those red flags earlier? Yeah, there was this and this that happened. Okay. Now I put that in my mind and I say, okay, next time I'm in that situation, I'm going to look for those red flags. And if I see those red flags, I'm not going to put myself in that position again. Right.
Yeah.
And that allows me to get rid of that rock. Because I think the reason we hold on to those rocks is because we haven't figured that out yet. We haven't figured out what our part in those bad rocks was.
Right. We always have a part, and it
Always have a part.
it
Right.
doesn't, like, the only time that's not even true. I used to use this when I worked in residential, like when it's, so doing a turnaround basically is it's seeing, this is what happened to me,
Yeah.
using quotations. And you do the turnaround of what was my part in it.
Yeah.
So let's say Jeff just came and kicked you in the shin.
Yeah.
And you freaked out. And you swearing at Jeff. Now you got beef. Even more beef.
Right.
Your reaction
Yep.
was your part.
Mhm.
Granted, the reaction was probably on
Probably
point.
justified. Right.
Someone came up and kicked me in the shin. I'm gonna knock him out.
Right. Right. But you have a
We're
choice to, like,
quick.
either walk away from that shin kicking or kick back, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
And in that situation, that's your part. Your part is you kicked back.
Yeah.
And then a fight ensued, right? Now, if you want to sit there and be like, well, I wouldn't have kicked back if they didn't kick me, so I'm justified in the kicking, but that's fine. But, like,
No,
you
that's
still,
childish.
right? You still had a part to play, you know. Pinky just had something there I saw real quick. Uh, also, why is said rock triggering something in you? I think that's something we should look at too. Is, somebody said something bad or whatever, and we reacted a really bad way, right? Well, why did we? Let's look at it.
Well, the seventh grade example, self-esteem, self-worth. You didn't have it. I didn't have it in this scenario. I didn't have it.
Yeah.
So that just planted itself deeper in me and made me think even less of myself. And that's why that's triggering.
Mhm. Right. Right. But yeah, I think that's an important thing, right? You think about it, is sometimes you have sometimes maybe you react at a level 10 when really the situation only justified a level 5 reaction, right?
Right.
That
Right.
happens.
All the time.
Right. And so you got to investigate that within yourself and say, why did I react at level 10? Right.
Yeah.
And then just start to understand it and then be authentic and open about it. Right. And say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry I reacted at level 10. These things happened previously that triggered me to react at level 10. And that's on me. I really should have reacted at a level 5.
We've literally had these conversations.
I know. I was thinking about
Like,
that. You had that
I have
exact.
said this to you, like,
I know.
hey, I was triggered, and like I need to talk about this because this isn't okay. The way I reacted
Yeah.
is not okay. I want to respond. I don't want to react. I want to respond, and I need to own how I reacted.
Yeah.
Even though maybe in the moment it felt justified, but I
Yeah.
overreacted.
Yeah.
And that's how you take that accountability and you grow and you change.
Yeah. Yep.
It's uncomfortable.
Oh, it's uncomfortable.
Change and growth is uncomfortable.
Yeah. 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 So I think, that's it. Like choosing the truth over comfort is a hard thing, right?
But it's important.
It's important. It's important. And that's how we get rid of the shame. That's how we move past that. So we're getting close. We're almost at 9 o'clock. We got to wrap it up soon. Any other points before we get to what our reflection is for the viewers? Any other points you want to talk about?
Yeah. I think that some people can really confuse, like, if I'm going to be accountable, I can't be compassionate, and they can coexist. Like, accountability is that your choice matters, and compassion says you're still worthy of care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's, you have a choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, but you're worthy of it, period.
Yeah. In my situation, I really tried to instill that of, I told him several times, I said, I don't want to shame. I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here for that. I'm here to help you and get you to be in a better place,
Yeah.
But I need you to be accountable and do the work that you need to do. But I'm here for you, and I
Yeah.
want to support you through that.
Right.
I think that's important when you're dealing with people, especially who are suffering addictions like that, right? Let them know they're still loved. They are still a good person, right? And they need help getting through what they need to get through.
Yeah. And it's both necessary, because
Absolutely.
one without the other will cause harm. And the only other point that I want to make is the topic of like growth and having discomfort for
Mhm.
healing. Like, growth requires losing familiar coping mechanisms, coping skills, right?
Oh, yeah.
It
Yeah.
Growth requires honest consequences.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can lead to a little bit of temporary instability. But comfort is not the same as safety.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean I'm not safe. And like really letting that sink in is that I can be uncomfortable. That doesn't mean I'm not safe.
Right. Yeah. I can speak to experience on that one. Growth definitely comes with a good level of being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a period where it causes some chaos, and then you work through it and you grow through it.
But we'll go back for a second, circling back to when I told you, like, no, I need to own this. Like, I reacted. That was so uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I didn't have to do that. You were like, no, it's okay. And I'm like, no, I need to talk about this because I want things the right way, right?
Yeah.
That was so uncomfortable.
I'm not gonna lie. It was uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, right.
That's why my response was, "No, it's okay. It's cool. We don't
Yeah,
have to talk about that."
yeah. Well, like, that's enabling.
Yeah, I know.
You're trying to enable me. And it's, no, I need to own this
Yeah,
because I am not gonna be able to heal through this if I
yeah,
don't own this. If I don't talk about this, that's gonna be something that stays between us and it
yeah.
gets swept under the rug.
Yes, yes.
Relationship or friendship, it gets swept under the rug.
Swept under the rug, right, right.
And how many times can we sweep things under the rug
Yeah,
before there's a whole fucking pile and you trip over the pile that's under the rug?
right, right, right. Yeah, that's such a great example because I was equally as uncomfortable, and I just wanted the conversation to be over. But you pushed it. We had the conversation. Both grew from experience, right?
Right.
I grew in being able to listen to you with that and talk it through, and so did you. And yeah, it was uncomfortable, but it was a good learning experience.
Yeah, and then we had like 2 other ones of that. But each time was less uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah,
And again, pointing out that being uncomfortable doesn't mean I'm not safe. Like, I knew I was safe to talk about it,
right.
which is why I was able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it may have not been about addiction, but it's growth.
Mhm.
Through substance use, you need to have growth.
You got to have that growth, right? Right. And unfortunately, you have to feel that discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, no, I disagree with you. I don't think it's unfortunate. I think you need to feel the discomfort. I think you need to feel the burn.
Mm.
Not in a cruel way, but like
Well, that's how you grow. You
that's
grow
how
by
that's not
feeling it,
in the
right?
game. Like, I need to feel the
Yeah.
burn because if I'm not feeling the burn, what the fuck am I gonna why am I gonna change?
Yeah. That reminds me of my grandparents making me use Listerine. The burn means it's working.
Yeah. Oh, that hurts my mouth thinking about it, but like, good point, Graham. Good point.
The burn makes it that means it's working.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then I really love this quote. And it's self-awareness without action is self-abuse.
Self-awareness without action is self-abuse.
What is it?
Wow. Yeah. Isn't that something? Right.
Stings kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-awareness, knowing what I'm doing, but not acting on it is actually abusing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All right.
Mic drop.
Yeah. All right. We'll end with some reflection for everybody listening. I want to invite you all to reflect a little bit on these things, right? So, where is shame keeping you silent in your life? What things are you shameful about that you're not talking about, right? And I'm not asking anybody to tell us or put it in the comments, but reflect on this, right? The other, I had a couple more. So what truth feels dangerous to name?
Can I just put a sidebar to this?
Yeah.
If we can't talk about it, we can't fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is manageable when it's mentionable.
When it's mentionable. Exactly. Right. So yeah. So think about that, right? So what truth in your life is just too dangerous to name? What do you not want to talk about?
Yeah.
Right. And would you get help sooner if secrecy wasn't required? Reflect on that, right? That's kind of what we're talking. That's exactly the point we're talking about here with shame and addiction is would you get that help sooner if you didn't have to be so secret about it?
Yeah.
All right. I think we'll end here. This was a great talk, Danielle. Thank you for joining me on this. This is good. Yeah. Yeah. I like it. We should do more together.
Well,
This
I
was
think
fun.
my kid put himself to sleep, so this has been great.
Oh, good. 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 I've heard my voice has that effect.
You haven't put me to sleep, man.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.